Hello and welcome to Energy PS Gurus. How are you all? I hope you are doing well, your sadhanas, and if you want to be free from all your sufferings and need my help, the hand holding, then you can join the Freedom Project, through which you will be benefited in multiple ways. And for any further information, you can contact at our team's email ID. So, why I am here today and what problem I am going to solve today? Stay tuned, because today's topic is not for your logical mind, it is for your energetic being, it is for your soul, and it is exclusively important for your spiritual journey. If you are on your spiritual journey, if you are in your Kundalini awakening journey, then this topic or this information will bring a shift in you. And I'm not disclosing the topic right away because you need to be mentally prepared and consciously aware to know about this topic from me, to know about the depth of the understanding behind this topic. So, there are some pros and cons or disclaimer before you begin understanding this topic. So, the first disclaimer is, if you are my student and if you have already diagnosed yourself through the Kundalini diagnosis, coaching and healing session, then you will understand this topic because you know what your diagnosis is. Second, if you have been our students for a long time and you have experienced what I am going to disclose in this topic, then also you will know from where I am discussing about the mysteries around this topic. Third disclaimer is, if you are not going through Kundalini awakening, if you are a person of the matrix, if you are here for entertainment, then kindly skip this video, because this video will not add much value to your entertainment and will in fact increase your mind fog, because this topic is not for the mind, it is for dissolving the mind. I want to demystify some of the most important or the most abused understanding behind the topic or the problem that is solved through spiritual powers. So let's begin with this. This was a brief introduction, so that if you are watching this video, then pay attention to whatever I am saying, connect to me energetically to understand this topic. And if you are already a student and watching this video, then notice the energetic shifts in you while you are watching this video, because this video is embedded with my spiritual powers. And if you watch this video with your full attention, there is highest possibility that some of the blocked energies in your energy channels and some of the blocked energies in your causal body, spiritual body or subtle body will be resolved. Maybe you will directly get answers to many of your doubts, or there is a possibility you will feel the need to get yourself healed through me, through this technique or through this process. I call it spiritual power because I get access to this dimension through my spiritual powers. I am the most powerful freedom guru, energy guru, and Kundalini guru in the world. And IGG Sanju, co-founder of Inner GPS Gurus, and IGG Avdut, founder of Inner GPS Gurus, have healed thousands of people through our energy transmission, energy workshop, and freedom project. This is not a YouTube content where you will come, understand, and then forget. It is not that kind of content or not that kind of entertainment topic. This video is the solution for your suffering. You are suffering since ages and you don't know how to heal, and you are carrying forward those energies in this birth. So here I disclose the topic. It is past life regression and how to heal through past life regression. How it is going to help you heal from your traumatic past, blocked energies that is creating obstacle in the flow of your life. There are many misunderstandings related to this topic, because there are many aspects or dimensions of life that you are unaware of. I will simplify this in a very simple and what a child can understand. I am simplifying to that extent. Whatever may be your age or experience in life, you are a child for me, because here I am the guru. I have the power. I have the power to access all the lives that you have lived. But if I start sharing with you the lives that you have lived, the karmas you have created in a wrong way, you will go mad. And that is why we are blessed that we forget our past lives when we take a new birth. Only we remember up to a certain age. Babies cry. Why do they cry so much? What experience they are having in life? They cry in the dream. They cry when they are asleep. Have you ever questioned this? Why do they do so? The answer is they carry the karmic blockages or the karmic imprints of past birth in this birth. And when the baby is small, maybe a few months or year, the baby is still recalling the suffering of the past lives. The energy which was not released in the past birth is repeating again in this birth, is replaying as if the event is happening right now. And that child, if that through a natural process, if the child is healed from past birth, then in this birth, that child will grow into a confident adult or a smart person, and nothing of a suffering will happen in this birth. But imagine you are that child who is carrying the trauma of the past birth, and still you are experiencing it in this birth. You don't know the reason behind it. You have not gone through any childhood trauma in this birth or any other problems that would lead to such kind of healing. I will explain this topic further, but let me take up a case study that the student from USA, we have healed that student from the past life karma, and that student is now towards freedom, the ultimate enlightenment. If you are going through Kundalini awakening, then past life regression is a must, because through past life regression you heal from the blockages of karmic remnants in your energy channels, in your chakras. To simplify this understanding, let me discuss the case study. What is the suffering in this birth? First, understand this. And what kind of past life regression I had done to that, or I have led to the healing process, I will explain in the next part of this case study. She is a female student. Her age is now 32 years. When she was 19, she got married to a boy, because I am claiming that as boy because that kind of psychic condition in a male person cannot be regarded as a matured adult. That person was psychic, having psychic problems, mental problems, and many such weird kind of person, addicted, too much of addicted, lustful, with lower vibrations. Both of them met in college. They fell in love with each other. They both got married. It was fine till they got married. But after the marriage, the boy started abusing her physically, her wife physically, who is the student I'm talking about. And there were many issues in the marriage that led to the trauma of this female student. After 2 to 3 years of complete suffering, sharing the bed, sharing the space, sharing the room or the home with that mental patient, the student got mentally disturbed. Her life got disturbed at such a young age. How much you know yourself? You don't know yourself much. You don't know how to seek help. You go into depression, anxiety, and such kind of horrible traumatic condition in such kind of environment. And when you don't know why it is happening to you, you did not do any wrong. Still you are experiencing all this suffering. Why? So the female student went through all the trauma, and after few years, 2 or 3 years of marriage, she got divorced. But the traumatic past never left her. And she went on experimenting with so many techniques, so many healing methods, but nothing helped. 10 years, she got divorced at the age of 22. At 19, she got married. For 3 years, she suffered. After 22, she never found anyone to help her from her traumatic past. She started isolating herself from the world. She started living an isolated life. She became like a dead person who is just living life without life. A dead person who is so much disturbed by the trauma. Her mind, her body, her soul is actually abused. She was physically abused through all the interactions with that mental patient. And now she is not in a position. All the 3 chakras are blocked. The sacral chakra, root chakra, solar plexus, all 3 chakras are blocked. Higher chakras are permanently blocked during this period of 10 years. Nothing happens in life. It is like days are passing, years are passing, nothing is happening. So, when she approached us, she came up with huge volume of trauma in her. When I diagnosed her, I found that the problem does not lie in this life. It is actually due to the karmic problems, karmic unsettled accounts of past birth that is carrying forward to this birth. So, through my past life regression, I came to know about 2 lives. And also one more thing, along with this trauma, she had experienced that she had that suicidal tendencies. She always feel that she had attempted suicide, in fact, in this birth many times, but something stopped her. Something stopped her. When she got diagnosed, I came to know that she is going through Kundalini awakening and she is in the last phase of enlightenment. If I unblock all her chakras, if I remove all the blockages in her energy channels and whatever techniques I know how to heal and how to free people, then her journey will be accelerated. And 6 months ago when she approached me, she was coming with a piled up of emotions and so much of blockages. With several sessions, she had joined the Freedom Project, and with several sessions, she is healing faster, her enlightenment is close. And when she become enlightened, I will definitely create one video discussing the case in detail, so that if you are suffering too, you know the intensity of support you will get from me and the intensity of surrendered attitude you should have if you want my powerful presence in your life to heal you, to free you, to uplift you, and to become free from all the suffering that you are going through over lives and lives. So the access of past life to the suicidal tendency, that is one thing, and second is unlimited craving for food. She has become fat due to overeating, and that overeating is despite doing conscious practices, the conscious eating technique that I teach, and despite applying all the willpower to not eat unconsciously, she has put on extra weight of 20-30 kilos, which is not according to her BMI, which is overweight, which comes in the category of overweight, and she is suffering from many issues related to genitals, related to the blood, related to periods, and I don't want to go into the detail of the problems she is facing, but understand that all the physical, mental and spiritual health is deteriorated due to this trauma, and she wants to get healed. She has been healed because I have removed many layers of the past lives in many of the session, but last 2, before enlightenment, these 2 layers are left. So I do that past life regression without you going to the past life. This is the exclusivity of my past life regression. I go into your past life, I heal you from the reason why you feel so in this birth, I heal you from the energy, and that is how you get free. So many of you fear that you don't want to face that situation or circumstances that happened in the past life. So you don't have to go to the past life and face the situation. You just need to heal from the energies that is traumatic in you, and I help you through energy transmission. You don't even realize that you have actually covered that, experienced that energy ever in your life. Because after you get healed, the energy is no more in your system. You no more feel the blockages. You no more feel the trauma behind or the charge behind those emotional energies that is in your energy channels. So, the past life, the story of the past life. There are 2 things which I will mention. One is suicidal tendency, why it was that, and craving for food. Craving for food I will cover first it is short past life, because there are many things which I don't want to share with you, because your mind will be created. If I share in this video, you will create your mind, and when you come to me, I have to heal that also. So a short past life story, that the condition in which she died in some of the birth was due to drought condition, famine condition, in which it was 3000 years ago, when the earth, certain parts of the earth was in drought condition, and due to not getting food, she died, and she took birth in many other forms: horse, dog, cow, wild animals, and multiple births happen during the period of 1000 years, actually from 2000 BC to 3000 BC. During that period, many births happen, and one of the birth was of human being, and from that famine, that drought condition, extreme drought condition, she died. She was a man in that birth, but the craving for food comes from that lack, the energy of lack, the energy of not getting enough. In today's world, she is in a very abundant family, extremely abundant family right now. There is no dearth of anything in this life. She has a good life. She is in the US, and everything is good. She is a professional, she works, everything is good. She has not lack or dearth of anything. But that craving is coming from the lack, that you will you eat food because you feel that if you don't eat food, you will die. See the energy, this kind of energy is there. And if you are also having this overeating thing, or not feeling hungry, let me explain, it is not only due to the mind that you have created in this birth. It is due to many lack thing. Maybe in some lives you were into poverty or something like that, which you did not get food when you were in the mountains, you died in the mountain, you lacked. I actually get all these stories or lives reading when I diagnose my students. Some of the students died on the mountain. A few of them were climbing to the Mount Everest. There are so many stories. So I don't want to make this a esoteric thing. The direct practical thing is, let me talk about the energy. The energy is of lack, that you will not get enough food and you will die. And such kind of energy remains in your system that makes you eat food unnecessarily without being conscious about it. So through energy transmission session, and that I do online, through powerful online energy transmission session, I released the energy of lack of food in her system. And after the energy transmission session, when she woke up next morning, she was healed. She told that I no more feel that energy. I'm eating consciously, chewing multiple times, doing all the techniques, all the process of the techniques very well, and I'm trying my best to do it in the best possible way, but I'm not feeling that energy. This is very important. This is extremely important. Understand that for lives she had suffered from that, from last 10 years she is eating, only eating. Overeating is like the craving is non-stop. The second story, which is very important, the second story is about, she told that she had suicidal tendencies and she feels like she was mother. She feels that energy of being a mother. So these two energies are incomplete. So the story the life dates back to 1300 AD. At that time she was in central India. And the story of that famine or drought condition was somewhere on the west of Indian subcontinent or Asian subcontinent, towards the what we have now Africa or the top of Africa, that part of the continent. So maybe in Egypt or somewhere like that. It was not exactly Egypt, because that time the names which we know now were different, the conditions were different, the earthly conditions were totally different from what we experience now. So it was like that. So this was in central India, and she was in a family. Her husband was loving, handsome, good looking and powerful in the village. He was a good person. Both of them happy together. Both of them had 2 children. Children were very young when this incident happened. A cunning and villain of the village, you can say that villain of the entire story. That person physically abused this female when the husband was not around. The husband went to the city of that time for some work, and during that time, this villain, the person cunning and lustful towards this female wife, she was extremely beautiful at that time. In fact, like the heroine of the movie or the village, it is that kind of thing. And when the incident happened, the husband was not around, and this cruel man, after physically abusing her, he told the villagers that it was her who was characterless, and the character assassination happened, and she was actually seducing him to sleep with her. All this led to the villagers abuse the female, that wife. And when the husband came, they wanted him to give divorce to his wife. The husband did not give divorce to the wife, but he stopped talking to her after listening to all the society and the so-called the today's society or matrix, without trusting her that she can never do that. She was very pure and honest, homely, but the husband did not trust his wife, and that led to the trauma. The love energy converted into trauma of depression and feeling of shame and guilt towards what had happened. She was not responsible for what has happened, but others' feeling of guilt and shame actually led her to take her own life. She committed suicide in that birth, and that birth led to the extension of this birth. In this birth, the husband of the wife has not come yet. He will come as a twin flame in future, and that I will cover in future life progression. Because many times when the karmas are not cleared in the past birth, all the few of the members or few of the relatives or characters of that, it is like sequel of a movie. In the prequel or the movie, some characters are not explained, then the sequel happens and that movie is carried forward, the characters are carried forward. It is that kind of thing in past birth and new birth. And the villain of that life was villain in this life as well. The villain was her husband, ex-husband, who actually completed his lust of that birth by marrying this female in this birth. And all the karmas with that man is over now. All the suffering is over now. It is no remnants of that. And whatever was left, I healed in the first session itself, when she came with this story or issues. So, there are many other characters of the past birth or the past movie that is carried forward in the sequel. But in the sequel, the story changes, the dimensions changes, the characters changes, the roles change. So you need to understand that. And after I did this past life regression, and gave her energy transmission. I shifted her energy. I unblocked her Kundalini energy of the lower 3 chakras. And immediately after that, her energy shot up, unblocking all the higher chakras that was blocked earlier. And now she is in crown chakra and ready to be free. And the process is going on. I'm healing her continuously because she has joined the Freedom Project, where I give energy transmission, I coach you, I heal you, I am connected to you through WhatsApp with whatever movement of energy happens in you and whatever guidance I give you to take action. You take action, you get results, you move forward. There is so much of dynamism in the energy transmission and Freedom Project that I do. So, not going into the detail, I briefed you a short story. There are hundreds and thousands of stories and there is no end to it if I keep on explaining one by one the past lives that I go through. I am extremely powerful that I can get access to any lives, and I go only to that life, the energy of which is actually carried forward to this birth, and you are still suffering from that energy. I don't go into the past lives of all the birds. I have access, but I don't go. I deliberately don't go because there is not such happening thing in the past. The past lives of everyone, every human being is actually dead. It carries dead energy, and I don't access the dead energy. What I access is the energy that I can move in you right now. I'm more focused on the present energy, the dead energy that is blocking your life's flow. You feel dead because of these energies. All the lower energies of greed, shame, blame, anger, fear, insecurity, jealousy, envy, pride, despair, depression, anxiety, stress, tension, all the tamasic energies are locked in your energy system in your lower 3 chakras. Until and unless your lower 3 chakras are healed, whether you are going through spiritual awakening or not, you will not get free. You will not be healed. You may be person of the matrix and suffering from many diseases. Some of the diseases are due to your blocked energies of past lives. It has nothing to do with your lifestyle and other things. You are maintaining most of the hygienic or the highest quality of life, eating the best food, still you are suffering. Then these are due to the past life that you are carrying in this birth. So if you want to get healed from all your problematic and unsolved, unresolved trauma of any birth, then come to me and get healed. This is all I can offer you, inform you and make you aware about it. If you want to know more about it, then you can email us and we will give you clarity on how the Freedom Project is. And we have created a page. You can visit that Freedom Project page, landing page, and you can read all the information that is required for you to join the Freedom Project. If you are willing, then only you will be healed. If you are suffering, then only you will be healed. Some of the cases include cancer patients. Cancer is not only due to lifestyle or other things. It is due to past life. What you will do if you don't know, some of the trauma that you have not dealt with in that life are carried forward. Always unresolved energies unresolved energies of desire and fear are carried forward to the next birth, and this is how you get the punishment or the suffering in this birth, because you have to go through that suffering. Until and unless you complete your karmas, you are not healed, you are not free, you are not healthy. So for further understanding, you can ask questions, you can take my first Kundalini diagnosis or just spiritual energetic diagnosis session, in which you will get to understand about the intensity of problems you are going through. One more important case that I will share here. Most of you, if you are going through that fapping and chronic masturbating thing. It is not because of this birth. Most of the addictions, 99% of the addictions are coming from the past birth energy. The ghost, the demons, the lower energies in you keep on consuming your energy to sustain that addiction. The process of addiction is not only of this birth, the process of addiction continues from previous birth. If you were a criminal in previous birth, that energy you are carrying in this birth, and that will lead to many addictions of criminal nature. So I have given enough clarity on this topic. If you have further questions, then you can contact me and just get healed, free. So it depends on your suffering, how fast you want to heal. That's all for today. Have a great day. I bless you. All my powers to you. And exclusively for my students, if you have watched this video and if you feel that you are also suffering and not progressing in your journey, then do sign up for the Freedom Project and unblock all the energies, be free, get enlightened, and go beyond enlightenment. There is life beyond enlightenment. There is so much to do and create your life. Come out of the matrix. If you are suffering due to being in the matrix is the problem for you, then come out. Let's go. Let's create new life. I am here with you. We Energy PS Gurus are here. So what are you waiting for? For life? It's here and now. Just smile and breathe. Bye-bye.